Marvel Rivals has a lot of lore and backstory, so I am here to catch you up on all of it so you can keep playing the game. Welcome to our timeline series where I'm going to do my best in putting every story in order. But before we begin, there's some things that you should know. An important thing to remember is that every hero in this game will have at least 3 chapters to their story, and currently it looks like all chapters will take place before the events of the actual game, but that's not guaranteed. We don't know that for sure. I also mentioned the multiple chapters because right now, everyone except for Black Panther only has their chapter 1 story available so far, meaning there are some gaps in time and parts of the stories that we don't know yet. So there will be multiple times in this timeline where storylines will have drastic changes. So I just want you to remember that all of the changes and developments will likely feel more natural later on once we get more stories. Next thing I want to bring up here is that I have summarized all of the stories to what I feel are the most significant points. This timeline here is in no way detailed or in-depth. If you want more details about a story, we have covered every hero story previously with those details, so go watch those if you're interested in that. And finally, because these stories take place across the multiverse and the previously mentioned missing stories, this timeline I've created is likely not 100% accurate, but that's not really my goal with this. My goal is to give you the story in a way that makes sense while giving you a general understanding of where they may take place in relation to each other. There are certain characters I have grouped together either because they appear in each other's stories or simply because they cover similar events that happen. I've really just formatted this in a way to where it feels more like a movie, and just like how Marvel Studios adapts the comics for the MCU, I am going to be taking creative liberties here to make this as accessible for everyone, because I cannot stress enough how dense all of this lore is. It's a lot of fun to go through, but it's a lot. So I'm doing my best to present it on a plate for you, so you can just listen to me and understand everything that's going on as simply and as fast as possible. Ironically, that intro wasn't very fast, but hey, the chapter times are there. You could have skipped this if you wanted, but you're a completionist. I appreciate you. Let's get started. It is about that time. Doctor Doom visits Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, seeking forbidden knowledge to manipulate time itself. Doom requests access to the Darkhold, an evil magical book, and he wants it specifically for the vampiric verses, which he believes can help Doctor Doom bend time like Dracula once did. Doctor Strange, of course, refuses this, knowing the Darkhold's corruptive power, leading Doctor Doom to then attack with dark magic. A battle of sorcery ensues, with Doctor Strange using powerful mystical attacks like the Crimson Thorns of Yggdrasil to restrain Doom. Knowing that he was beat, Doctor Doom surrenders, as Doctor Strange releases Doom, trusting his word that he had surrendered and he will leave peacefully. But Doctor Doom vows that he will find one way or another to conquer time. And before departing, Doom warns Doctor Strange of an impending great evil that will engulf the city in darkness. To keep the Darkhold safe, Doctor Strange then banishes it to a hidden corner of the astral plane, just beyond Doom's reach. And months later, Doctor Strange senses a massive disturbance in time and space itself, seemingly originating from the nation of Latveria. The disturbance tears through dimensions, including the astral plane, and heads straight for Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum. Strange only has a moment to act, knowing this decision could determine the fate of countless universes. The God of the Moon, Khonshu, abruptly summons Mark Spector, the Moon Knight, mid-battle, pulling him into the divine space for an urgent mission. But before they talk for too long, Doctor Doom arrives unexpectedly in this divine space. How did he get here? Khonshu nor Moon Knight know, but Doctor Doom is here seeking Khonshu's help in shrouding a city in eternal night to study the vampiric verses and manipulate time. Khonshu orders Moon Knight to get Doom out of this space, so Moon Knight battles Dr. Doom, but Dr. Doom overpowers him using the daggers of Dormammu, forcing Khonshu to intervene. Dr. Doom then reveals that the vampires originated from an ancient Darkhold curse, and he believes their magic holds the key to controlling time. Doom proposes using Khonshu's power to trap the city of New York in permanent darkness, making it a vampire breeding ground for his experiments. Khonshu refuses, warning of an even greater coming darkness that could threaten gods and mortals alike. Khonshu then banishes Dr. Doom from the divine space, but Doom vows to find another way to achieve his goal. With Dr. Doom now gone, Khonshu now seeks the Montesi formula, a spell in the Darkhold that could erase all vampires permanently. Moon Knight is then tasked with protecting New York City while preparing for the inevitable war against the vampire hordes. As Moon Knight returns to New York City, Moon Knight swings into action, knowing that his white costume will not stay clean for long, with his battle shortly ahead. Wanda Maximoff, the sorceress supreme of her universe, maintains the delicate balance of reality, preventing it from collapsing due to magical conflicts. She is contacted by an astral projection of Dr. Stephen Strange from another reality, who is trapped due to the time stream entanglement. Strange warns Wanda of Dracula's rising power, revealing that he has performed a blood ritual to imprison New York City in eternal night. Dracula seeks to use the Darkhold's forbidden spells to make vampires immune to sunlight, turning all humanity into their prey. Doctor Strange introduces Wanda to a mysterious material called chronovium, which is a side effect of Victor Von Doom's time experiments. Wanda realizes she has been too focused on maintaining her reality's stability and decides to take a more active role in the battle. The Darkhold is currently in the hands of Khonshu, the Egyptian moon god, who plans to use a powerful spell to wipe out all vampires permanently. Doctor Strange plans to challenge Khonshu to a game of chess to win back the Darkhold, as the god of the moon is known to enjoy games of skill. So the Scarlet Witch agrees to help Strange return to his reality if he retrieves the Darkhold. But secretly, Wanda desires to master its power for herself. So, if Strange refuses to share its secrets once they get the Darkhold, Wanda is willing to unleash her own chaos to restore order to her universe at any cost. Dracula has trapped New York City in eternal night, unleashing his vampire army on its citizens. Cloak and Dagger fight to protect the city, but things have changed for them. Because during a cosmic event known as the Time Stream Entanglement, Cloak and Dagger were caught mid-teleportation, causing their bodies to merge into one physical unit, meaning only one of them can physically exist at any given time. The Fantastic Four's Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, confirms their molecular fusion, as he explains that they are entangled at a subatomic level, allowing only one of them to manifest while the other remains simply a voice in their partner's head. Cloak notices Dagger becoming more ruthless as the time goes on, while he is growing more merciful, reversing their usual roles. Meanwhile, Reed Richards and the Iron Man Tony Stark argue over how to handle the vampire crisis in New York City. Reed Richards develops a prototype version of the time stream reintegration device that may restore Cloak and Dagger to separate bodies, but the process is risky and untested. So Reed gives them a warning, and Dagger completely ignores Cloak's hesitation and forces the experiment to go through, successfully restoring their separate forms. But Reed warns that their energy signals are still connected, meaning teleportation could re-entangle them. So, leaving the Fantastic Four's Baxter building, Cloak and Dagger head into a battle against vampires on a ferry. But on that ferry, a trap has separated them, leaving Dagger outnumbered with no escape. Cloak chooses to teleport to save her on the ferry, knowing it would cause them to merge once again, but he refuses to let Dagger die. Cloak successfully rescues Dagger and the civilians on the ferry, but just as they feared, they are now re-entangled. Dagger is once again trapped inside Cloak, only able to communicate through his mind. Despite the setback, Cloak promises to lead Dagger through the darkness as she has always guided him back to the light, proving that even though they are at odds right now, they are still a team. The leader of both Krakoa and Arakko, Storm, is caught in a sudden cosmic disturbance while walking along Arakko's shores on Mars. A massive time storm erupts, distorting reality, causing Krakoa and Arakko to overlap and merge, and nearly becoming one entity, risking destruction of both. The storm accelerates time chaotically, making plants grow and decay instantly, while unknown crystals rain down, disturbing space and time. Storm instinctively realizes she can control the storm, not through weather manipulation, but by guiding the flow of time itself like an experienced ship captain. She prevents Krakoa and Arakko from permanently fusing, helping them separate before the storm fully subsides. As the time storm ends, Storm finds herself mysteriously transported from Arakko to Krakoa without using the gateway that is needed to go into Krakoa. So she begins to question this, whether this is the same reality that she left. She begins to wonder if this timeline has shifted and if her loved ones and allies are still the same ones. The mysterious time-infused crystals remain, which she gathers to investigate, believing Charles Xavier and Magneto must be warned immediately. As she looks around, Storm sees unfamiliar faces among Krakoa's survivors, realizing the storm may have pulled people from different times or realities themselves. Despite the uncertainty, she resolves to lead and protect her people, whether they are from her past, her present, or her future. Bruce Banner develops the Gamma Belt, a device that is designed to control his Hulk transformations and potentially regulate his power. He tests the belt in his lab, activating it to trigger a controlled transformation into the Hulk, hoping it will allow for stability and measured strength. Now, once he is transformed into the Hulk performs some strength tests, including a thunderclap that accidentally causes a massive shockwave, collapsing a canyon wall and nearly burying himself. The Gamma Belt protects the Hulk by generating a force field, preventing debris from touching him, something that Banner had not yet anticipated. The Hulk realizes the belt refuels itself as he exerts power, creating a feedback loop that keeps increasing his gamma levels, making him even stronger. Embracing this newfound power, the Hulk deliberately pushes the belt further, leaping and smashing a car mid-air and absorbing more gamma energy. Now, Bruce Banner's consciousness warns Hulk that it's too much gamma buildup, and if they keep going, it could have catastrophic consequences. But the Hulk simply ignores puny Banner. The Hulk, reveling in his new strength, destroys the lab in a frenzy, smashing equipment and causing structural collapse to prove his dominance over Bruce Banner. Now, a stray fragment damages the Gamma Belt, instantly reverting Hulk back into Bruce, leaving him surrounded by all of the wreckage. Though shaken by the destruction, Bruce Banner is intrigued by the experiment's results and vows to continue refining his work, realizing there is so much more to learn about this Gamma Belt. Hela, the Queen of Hell herself, senses the shattering of realities caused by the time stream entanglement, and she seeks to exploit the disruption for her own power. She learns of an element named chronovium, a material formed from temporal disturbances, and gathers samples from across different realms. Each one of them are slightly different in nature. A lost soul in Hell reveals knowledge of Celestials and their vast power, fueling Hela's ambition to claim them for herself and expand her dominion beyond Asgard and the Ten Realms itself. Suddenly, a symbiote emissary arrives in Hell, sent by the King in Black, Knull, the ancient god of darkness, as he is demanding a celestial soul that has entered Hela's realm. Hela refuses to surrender the Celestial, asserting her rule over Hell and threatening Knull with eternal servitude should he challenge her. After listening and realizing that Knull is currently in prison, she deduces that Hel can now reach his realm, Clintar, potentially allowing her to invade it directly. She begins experimenting with Hel-infused chronovium, seeking to expand her dominion not just through space, but through all of time itself. Hela's goal is to make Hel a force that absorbs all souls, past and future, ensuring that even beings from different timelines will be bound to her rule. She anticipates Knull's retaliation, but she welcomes it, knowing that any who enter Hell, god or mortal, will ultimately belong to her. With her growing power over time itself, Hela commands the chronovium to reveal the future, as she already claims dominion over the past. The god of mischief, Loki, discovers that Yggdrasil's sap now holds a new temporal magic, a result of the time stream entanglement, and begins experimenting with it. Using the sap's magic, he peers into multiple future versions of Asgard, seeing endless versions of the realm in ruin, except for a single one, where Loki rules as king. Determined to bring this future to pass, Loki plots to seize the throne of Asgard, planning to place his father, Odin, into Odin's sleep and manipulate his brother Thor into exile. With this plan, Loki knows that he needs allies, so he seeks out Karnilla, the Queen of the Norns, to ensure fate remains in his favor. Additionally, Loki also approaches his sister, Hela, believing her vast allegiance will help secure the throne, though he knows that she will demand something in return. So, Loki arrives in Hell unannounced to annoy Hela, as he presents his case to her, but she is skeptical, recognizing that all of his plans ultimately serve his own ambition. And this is where Loki reveals the secret of Yggdrasil's sap, demonstrating its ability to glimpse into the future and offering Hela a vision of her own destiny. Hela sees something within the vision that intrigues her, prompting her to agree to an alliance, but only and only if Loki helps her achieve her own goals with chronovium. Loki agrees, though he fully intends to betray her later, yet he cannot be sure whether this particular deception will ultimately prove true or false. With Hela's forces potentially at his disposal, Loki's schemes for the throne of Asgard advance, but the true consequences of meddling with time will remain uncertain. The god of thunder, Thor Odinson, is currently imprisoned in the Tower of Solitude by his brother Loki, who has usurped the throne of Asgard through deception and powerful new magic. Thor's magical hammer Mjolnir smashes through the tower's walls, freeing Thor from this prison, who immediately flies to confront Loki and reclaim Asgard. Thor discovers Loki harvesting Yggdrasil's sap, rich in a new element called chronovium, using its power to enhance his magic and possibly forge powerful weapons. Thor and Loki clash on the palace plaza, but Loki reveals that he has anticipated Thor's escape and has already allied with their sister. And that's when Hela arrives with an army of the dead infused with chronovium, overwhelming Thor as Loki watches smugly. Despite his best efforts, Thor cannot hold off the endless legions, and Hela ultimately restrains him with a powerful spell. Loki declares that Asgard is now his, claiming that Odin has abandoned it and that he alone can reshape the fractured realms. Meanwhile, Hela, revealing her own ambitions, casts Thor into an unknown realm, ensuring that he cannot interfere with either of their plans. Thor then crash lands in a mysterious red-hued desert on Midgard, only to be immediately attacked by a gamma-infused, even stronger version of the Hulk, wearing some strange belt. Thor eventually disables Hulk's power-enhancing belt, reverting him back to Bruce Banner, who is shocked to see Thor and reveals that people have been searching for Thor for a long, long time. Thor, however, only cares about one thing right now: getting back to Asgard, and he needs Bruce Banner's help. Ratatoskar, the messenger squirrel of Yggdrasil, writes a letter to Midgard, also known as Earth, revealing a dire crisis in Asgard. Odin has fallen into a deep slumber, leaving the throne vulnerable, as Loki seizes the opportunity and crowns himself ruler. A cosmic disturbance disrupts time and space, causing Yggdrasil to merge with Asgard, creating a new realm called Isgard. Loki seeks to harness the raw temporal power within Yggdrasil's sap, though his ultimate intentions remain unclear to the public. Hela, the Queen of the Dead, allies with Loki, claiming she only wishes to expand her kingdom into the land of the living. With Hela's support, Loki cements his rule over Isgard, enslaving its people and bending the realm to his will. Now, Asgard's rightful heir, Thor, is banished to a distant dimension, leaving Asgard defenseless against Loki's tyranny. Ratatoskar then warns that Loki's actions could destabilize Yggdrasil, potentially bringing all of reality crashing down. Despite his sworn duty to neutrality, Ratatoskar pleads for intervention from somebody, anybody, urging a hero to rise and save the 10 realms from Loki's grip. Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow, infiltrates Alchemax's Tokyo headquarters in the year 2099, searching for a classified Mercury-level asset. Black Widow expertly navigates the building's high-tech security, including laser traps and elite guards, in order to reach a heavily restricted underground vault. Inside this vault, she discovers encrypted files referencing an old super soldier serum, as well as Krakoan flowers and surveillance photos of herself and Nick Fury. At the center of the room, she finds a massive, frozen crystal containing a mysterious human figure, the asset she is here searching for. Initiating the thawing process on this crystal, she is absolutely stunned as she sees a man in red, white, and blue emerge. It is Captain America, Steve Rogers, frozen since World War II. A disoriented Captain America immediately wakes up and asks about the Red Skull, only to learn from Natasha that the Red Skull has been dead for over 50 years. Before both of them can process the situation, the Public Eye security force storm the chamber, forcing Natasha and Cap to fight their way out. As they reach the building's lobby, they are confronted by a massive Public Eye mech, which Cap takes down using a piece of its armor as a makeshift shield. However, the mech activates a self-destruct sequence, causing a massive explosion. Cap shields Natasha from the blast, but vanishes in the aftermath. The Black Widow escapes into the night, her mission incomplete, but for the first time in decades, Natasha feels something unexpected. She feels hope. The X-Men, known as the Wolverine, shares his recent adventures over a drink at Krakoa's Green Lagoon bar, reflecting on the chaos caused by the time stream entanglement. Krakoa was displaced to the year 2099, where Magneto has transformed it into a sanctuary for displaced mutants, though tensions remain over Logan's work with human resistance fighters. The Wolverine recounts how he searched for the Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, in Tokyo, only to find Captain America, Steve Rogers, freshly thawed from a mysterious Alchemax lab under attack by Doombots, created by, of course, Dr. Doom. Wolverine and Captain America fought side by side, taking down the Doombots, but Logan realized hiding Cap on Krakoa could put all mutants in danger. So, with the goal of keeping Captain America safe, he then brings Cap to a resistant safe house, as the Wolverine then used Krakoan medicinal flowers to help Captain America recover from his long stasis and battle injuries. Steve Rogers, then eager to fight alongside Wolverine against tyranny once more, offered to join the resistance, but Logan warned that his presence would draw too much attention to what they were doing. Instead, Wolverine devised a plan to send Captain America to the intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, where the Black Panther, King T'Challa, has been seeking allies against an ominous coming threat across the universe. So then, using a Chemio bead gifted to the Resistance, Logan led Captain America to a Wakandan embassy in Tokyo, where a portal then opened to Wakanda's empire. Captain America then saluted over to the Wolverine as the portal closes as he steps through, disappearing into the unknown future, leaving Wolverine to resume his search for the Black Widow. Now, as Logan finished his drink here on this bar, Magneto reflects on the story he had just heard and reflects on the growing list of potential allies in this new era, considering a partnership with humans, while Logan knows that his next mission is just beginning. In the year 2099, the Yoshida Corporation prepares to sell high-tech weapons to a rising New York crime syndicate called the Castiglions. Now, their representative, Johnny Tower, turns out to be Frank Castle, the legendary Punisher, and kills Shuri Yoshida on the spot. The rest of the Yoshida guards unload their weapons into Castle, but he survives, revealing his iconic white skull symbol underneath his tattered shirt. Before Frank Castle can finish off the remaining Yoshida forces though, Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow, intervenes, demanding he let them go. The Punisher is shocked to see that Natasha is still alive after more than a century, and the two realize they both have undergone anti-aging treatments. Natasha reveals that she recently freed Captain America Steve Rogers from a secret Alchemax facility, but since then they were separated. Captain America has vanished. Now, their conversation about this is cut short as the public eye has soldiers storm the warehouse, forcing them to fight side by side. Now, the Punisher, known for his lethal methods, surprisingly holds back and uses non-lethal force at Natasha's insistence. And then after the fight, Castle realizes that Natasha had lured the public eye there on purpose to test his loyalty, and this puts a strain on their already fragile trust between one another. However, despite their differences, Frank Castle agrees that if they want to find Captain America and take down Dr. Doom, they will need to start trusting each other. Inside the Chitaris base, two Hydra agents, Pete and Jim, discuss the brutal Antarctic cold and the high security nature of their assignment. They reveal that the base houses Hydra's most important experiments, aiming to reshape the entire world. Rumors have been circulating that the Winter Soldier was captured there trying to infiltrate the base and has been subjected to reconditioning. Now, originally set for the Science Division, Bucky Barnes was instead claimed by Hydra's mysterious occult ops. Now, they are attempting to activate a portal to Maveth, a dead planet, believing it holds the key to Hydra's ultimate power. Now, one of the Hydra agents, Jim, despite being something of a scientist himself, admits the eerie chance of Hydra's priests make him question whether their supernatural goals are even real. But then Pete dismisses occult ops as lunatics, convinced that Hydra's future lies in science, not some ancient alien rituals from a planet he doesn't even know actually exists. Now, despite their disagreement, both Pete and Jim acknowledge that Hydra desperately needs a victory, and they end their conversation on a light note, agreeing to take a break and get some hot cocoa from the commissary. Meanwhile, deep in the base, the fate of the Winter Soldier hangs in the balance, caught between Hydra's science and its dark, otherworldly ambitions. Hawkeye, real name Clint Barton, is assigned a solo mission to infiltrate a Hydra base in Antarctica's Ross Island to rescue the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. Now, Agent 13 pilots a Quinjet and briefs Clint on the mission, revealing that Bucky infiltrated the base 3 days ago, but he lost communication after just 8 hours. The base is built on ancient ruins beneath the Iberus ice shelf, and Hydra is conducting both super soldier research and occult experiments. Clint Barton begins to reflect on his time as Ronin in the past, acknowledging that while he once walked a darker path, he needs to be Hawkeye again, and he needs to stay grounded. He prepares for the mission, selecting a mix of explosive, bladed, and non-lethal arrows, as well as his twin swords. Agent 13 then warns Clint that if Bucky is beyond saving, Hawkeye's priority should be to retrieve intel and escape. As the Quinjet nears the drop zone, Hawkeye pushes aside his doubts, determined to bring Bucky home. Now, a vehicle will be waiting for him at the landing site, but the safest approach is through the upper levels of the base. Despite intel recommending he avoid the lower levels, Clint and Barton suspect there may be supernatural threats hidden below. With the cargo door open, Hawkeye takes a deep breath, steadies himself, and jumps into the Antarctic night, ready to face whatever awaits him. The entire world mourns the reported death of Captain America, while Hydra agents stationed at an Antarctic base discuss their secret experiments and the time stream entanglement. Suddenly, Hawkeye infiltrates the base, eliminating the Hydra guards and navigating the underground facility to locate the captive Winter Soldier. He finds Bucky in a containment tank labeled Canary, but is attacked by a monstrous Hydra super soldier before he could free Bucky. As Hawkeye struggles, Bucky awakens, revealing a shocking transformation. His cybernetic arm has been replaced with eldritch tentacles. With his new monstrous limb, Bucky kills the Hydra soldier and escapes the tank, but he insists on completing a mission before leaving. Hawkeye and the Winter Soldier descend deeper into the facility, discovering an ancient chamber with a massive portal. Hydra has been trying to summon something from the great beyond. Bucky connects his tentacles to the altar, triggering a surge of power, but realizing he must sever his corrupted arm in order to stop the ritual. At Bucky's command, Hawkeye cuts off the tentacle limb, causing a massive shockwave that collapses the chamber and shuts the portal. As all hope seems lost, the portal reactivates, with Captain America, Steve Rogers, emerging, deflecting debris with his shield and rescuing Hawkeye and Bucky. Cap then explains that he is from another timeline and has brought them to Wakanda's intergalactic empire, where Bucky receives a new cybernetic arm before Cap asks him for a favor in return. Captain America, Steve Rogers, a man displaced in both time and space finds himself in a futuristic intergalactic empire of Wakanda. As he reflects on how much the world has changed, he reunites with Hawkeye and watches over the injured Bucky Barnes, unsure of how much of his old friend remains after Hydra's latest experiments. Captain America recounts his past, how he was frozen, thawed out in 2099 by Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow, in an Alchemax lab, and later aided by Logan, the Wolverine, to escape to Wakanda. Now, the Black Panther, King T'Challa, and his sister Shuri welcome Steve into Wakanda, revealing the time stream entanglement's effects on reality, and also asking Captain America to gather elite warriors for an impending war. Steve chose Bucky as his first recruit, unknowingly saving both him and Hawkeye from certain deaths inside Hydra's collapsing Antarctic base. Now, as Steve and Clint discuss their next steps, Bucky suddenly wakes up in agony, his new cybernetic arm mutating again as dark forces whisper inside of his mind. Possessed by an unknown eldritch force, Bucky attacks, forcing Steve and Clint to lure him into an open space for a safer confrontation. Now, Princess Shuri devises a way to reset Bucky's corrupted arm, using Hawkeye's perfect aim to land a chemio bead arrow on a precise point on his cybernetic limb. The shot is successful. Bucky collapses, freed from the dark force's control, though the princess suggests more tests to understand what happened to him. With his allies by his side, Steve Rogers, Captain America, finally feels a sense of belonging in this strange new world, ready to face the battles ahead together. Sensing the cosmic disruption of the time stream entanglement, Adam Warlock instinctively retreats into his regenerative cocoon, drifting through space. He is then telepathically contacted by a weakened Odin, who is trapped in the Odin sleep after Loki usurped Asgard and transformed it into Isgard. Odin warns Adam Warlock of an ancient, creeping darkness beyond Loki's schemes, one powerful enough to corrupt entire realities. Adam Warlock then encounters Bast, the Wakandan Panther goddess, who reveals that realities are now merging and ominously refers to a coming feast. Then, a dying Celestial reaches out to Adam Warlock, warning him that before the Celestials, there was a primordial being of absolute darkness, a force even they could not stop. The Celestial names the entity as Null, the King in Black, revealing that he was slain by Null's sword and that his corpse still carries Null's corruption. As Adam Warlock tries to resist, Null himself enters his mind, dragging him through space towards his domain. Before Null can fully ensnare him though, a brilliant burst of cosmic fire, the Phoenix Force, briefly blinds Adam Warlock's cocoon, offering a flicker of hope. Adam Warlock then crash lands on Clintar, the living planet of the symbiotes, realizing it is both Null's former throne and the prison where his own followers once sealed him away. Breaking free from his cocoon, Adam Warlock vows to prevent Null's resurgence, ensuring that light will shine in the end. Venom awakens in a war-torn nether realm, having escaped imprisonment by Magik in Limbo, who warns him that the realm is in an endless battle between the gods and the demons. A sudden agonizing vision from the Clintar hive mind reveals something ancient and evil. The King in Black, Null, has awakened and threatens all of existence. Determined to stop Null, Venom realizes he must find All Black, the Necro Sword, the legendary weapon that Null once used to slay an entire Celestial. So Magik helps Venom by using her mutant teleportation ability to open a portal, sending him across the galaxy to the remains of the fallen Celestial where the sword may be hidden. Venom finds the Necrosword embedded in the Celestial's corpse, its darkness pulsing with ancient power, but no matter how hard he tries, he cannot pull it free. Unbeknownst to Venom, Adam Warlock's cosmic cocoon drifts nearby, awakening the Celestial's remnants, which release a psionic shockwave that hurls Venom into space. Venom crash lands on Clintar, the symbiote homeworld, where he is embraced by his kin, only to realize that Null's influence is already creeping through the planet. Nearby, Venom discovers Warlock's cocoon, which the symbiotes are preparing to consume, but before they can, Venom tears it open to reveal Adam Warlock inside. Mistaking Venom for an agent of darkness, Adam Warlock immediately attacks, forcing Venom to defend himself while trying to explain their shared goal. Realizing their common enemy, Adam Warlock and Venom reluctantly agree to an alliance, both now fully committed to stopping Null before he can plunge the universe into eternal darkness. After the Milano ship crashes on an unknown planet, Groot wanders off, avoiding Rocket and Star-Lord's argument, and finds himself drawn to an eerie voice from the jungle. The jungle plants, part plant and part symbiote, warn Groot to leave, claiming they will hurt him if he gets too close. But Groot responds with kindness, confusing all of them. Groot realizes the symbiote plants have never known trust or friendship, and tries to teach them that strength comes from unity, not just survival. A massive explosion erupts from the crashed ships, spreading fire through the jungle, terrifying the symbiotic plants, who cannot escape. Determined to save them, Groot extends his roots beneath the wreckage, overturning the ships to smother the flames, creating a firebreak and protecting the jungle. The plants are now grateful, and they reveal that Rocket has wandered into an old complex, now engulfed in flames. So Groot rushes to save his best friend. Inside the complex, Groot finds Rocket trapped behind an energy barrier while monstrous black symbiotes swarm the corridors, trying to reach him. Despite being overwhelmed, Groot fights back, and the jungle plants, now his allies, intervene, using their symbiotic abilities to consume the attacking creatures. With Rocket safe now, Groot proudly shows him the plants that helped guide him. So Rocket is horrified that he even trusted a symbiote to begin with, but Rocket and Groot then return to the Milano, carrying the energy barrier as a tool to repair the ship, while Groot reflects on the power of friendship, even on a hostile world like Clintar. After Star-Lord crashes the Milano ship on Clintar, Rocket searches a massive ship graveyard for salvageable parts to repair the ship. He quickly realizes he's being watched and is soon ambushed by monstrous symbiote creatures with claws and fangs. Rocket flees into an eerie complex of ancient buildings, dropping a miniature gravity well behind him to annihilate some of his pursuers. Inside, he discovers advanced containment and weapons technology, realizing the place may have been a prison or a lab meant to control the symbiotes. As he scavenges for parts, the facility's automated defenses activate, nearly frying Rocket before symbiotes destroy the turrets. Rocket fights his way to a small, secure side room in the facility, where he discovers a powerful Xandarian energy barrier projector, perfect for fortifying his position. Hot-wiring the barrier with salvaged quantum circuits, he successfully activates it, trapping the symbiotes outside while allowing him to fire through it. Realizing that he can repurpose this technology to repair the Milano's engines, he devises a plan to escape with the components he needs. However, with more symbiotes gathering and the facility's doors starting to give way, Rocket prepares for one last desperate fight. Blaster charged and ready, he stands his ground, waiting for Groot, or anyone, to show up before he makes his next move. After crash landing the Milano ship on Clintar, Star-Lord Peter Quill defends the ship from attacking symbiotes while Rocket and Groot search for parts. He notices that the symbiotes on Clintar are different, bonded to various alien species, and far more aggressive than usual. An explosion in the ship graveyard draws most of the symbiotes away, giving Quill a temporary reprieve to repair the Milano. Hours later, Rocket and Groot return with scavenged technology, including a vital energy barrier system that could stabilize the ship. Star-Lord unveils his plan to escape, using a Celestial's corpse in orbit as an anchor for quantum displacement swap, a technique inspired by the Negabands. Rocket Raccoon, initially skeptical of this plan, realizes the plan might actually work, but warns that they need a force-dampening matrix to survive the swap. And Groot, with the help of Clintar's symbiotic plants, unknowingly gathered the exact piece of tech they needed. So they activate the quantum swap, briefly entering the negative zone, where they come face to face with the floating celestial corpse. Now at this point, the scanners they have start to reveal movement within the corpse, and Star-Lord, of course, panicking when he sees this, forces them back to Clintar, but not before glimpsing a mysterious symbiote figure in a glowing cocoon. Though Rocket and Groot are frustrated with his rash decisions, Peter Quill remains confident that his leadership saved them, while the Celestial's corpse still looms ominously above. The Black Panther, King T'Challa, reflects on the success of the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, a fusion of science and tradition that has spread across the stars. The Wakandan gods, known collectively as the Orisha, have fallen mysteriously silent. Even Bast, the Panther goddess who chose T'Challa as her champion, has not talked to him in a while. Wakanda is at war with two versions of Doctor Doom from different timelines, both of them seeking control of the fractured time stream. While praying for guidance, T'Challa is unexpectedly answered by Kalunia, the banished sister of Bast, who warns T'Challa of a growing darkness in the universe. The Black Panther distrusts Kalunia but begins to fear that the Orisha themselves may have been corrupted by this unknown force. Meanwhile, Princess Shuri, T'Challa's sister, urges T'Challa to allow Wakanda's Vibranium Chronovium to be used in the time stream reintegration device, but he refuses. T'Challa believes that Wakanda's greatest resource is not its vibranium, is not its infused vibranium with chronovium, it is Shuri herself, and entrusts her with leading the scientific efforts. Shuri accepts T'Challa's orders, although she is very frustrated by them. And while reflecting on his next move, T'Challa finally hears from Bast, but her voice is different. It's laced with an unsettling darkness. She cryptically tells him that he is not the only, quote-unquote, king in black that she has favored, as dark energy begins consuming the Hall of Jalia. Determined to protect Wakanda at all costs, the King T'Challa rushes towards the danger, prepared to defy even the gods themselves in order to protect the people of Wakanda, because that is the only thing he cares about. Wakanda forever. Princess Shuri records a private log, admitting that she has lost faith in the gods, believing the Wakandan pantheon has abandoned their intergalactic empire. She criticizes her brother, King T'Challa, for blindly praying to Bast, unaware that Bast has spoken to her in dreams with a voice filled with unsettling darkness. Princess Shuri fears that Bast has been tainted by a sinister force and that T'Challa's devotion could be used to bring ruin to Wakanda. However, Shuri keeps her concerns secret, knowing that voicing such doubts, even as a princess, would be considered blasphemy. Meanwhile, she focuses on unraveling the mysteries of the time stream entanglement and chronovium, particularly Wakandan's own vibranium-infused version of it, called chronovibranium. The princess enlisted the Guardians of the Galaxy to investigate a surge of dark energy at the edge of the known universe, fearing it may be connected to Bast's corruption. Now, the Guardians trace the disturbance to the planet of Clintar, the symbiote homeworld, but as their ship descends towards the planet, Shuri lost all contact with them. Shuri worries that they may have encountered the same darkness that has tainted Bast and realizes she cannot rely on the Orisha to intervene. Determined to protect Wakanda and her allies, she prepares to take action herself, trusting in science, strategy, and the strength of those she believes in. Despite her loss in faith of the gods, Shuri remains resolute, because even if the divine has abandoned them, she still has faith in her friends. King T'Challa, the Black Panther, enters Jalia, the Wakandan astral plane, seeking answers about Bast's potential corruption. Princess Shuri warned him against communicating with Bast, fearing the goddess has been tainted by an unknown force. Upon arriving, T'Challa is shocked to find Jalia empty. No astral spirits roam the sacred realm at all. So, T'Challa blindfolds himself to meditate, calling out to Bast, who immediately responds but speaks with an unsettling tone. Bast warns T'Challa not to trust those who claim she is corrupted, calling them fools and heretics. She demands absolute loyalty, urging him to swear fealty and strike down anyone who opposes her cause. As an offering, she shows him a vision of the heart-shaped herb, now burning crimson instead of its usual purple glow. Realizing his worst fears, T'Challa rips off the blindfold, breaking the connection, and sees Bast's reflection twisted and stained with red and black energy. Desperate, T'Challa dives into the water to reach her, only to awaken abruptly in his bedchamber before a vibranium statue of Bast. With resolve, T'Challa places a hand on the statue and vows to purge Bast of this corruption, no matter the cost. Lin Lee, the new Iron Fist, meditates under the Tree of Immortality in Kunlun, reflecting on how he became the protector of the mystical city after wielding the shattered sword of Fuji. The time stream entanglement has merged Kunlun with the other capital cities of heaven, but all the other immortal weapons have mysteriously vanished, leaving Lin Lee alone. As he ponders his fate, a green mist materializes and attacks him, revealing itself to be a thief stealing enchanted fruit from the Tree of Immortality. The Iron Fist gives chase, leaping across rooftops, and eventually recognizes the thief as the Prince of the Orphans, the immortal weapon of Zigambo. The chase leads Lin into a shadowy underground realm known as the Land of Shadows, which was once the infamous 8th City, a prison for the capital cities of heaven. Inside, the Iron Fist finds the Prince of the Orphans caring for a sick infant named Lhasa, whom he rescued from a war between ancient forces and elder gods. Iron Fist then uses his Shi to restore the decaying enchanted fruit, saving the child and earning the Prince of Orphans' respect. In return, the prince offers to train the Iron Fist in martial arts, knowing he never properly trained in the ways of past Iron Fists. However, before they could begin their training, Kunlun's guards arrive, ready to execute Iron Fist for stealing the sacred fruit, but they are stopped by Dizang, the mysterious ruler of the Land of Shadows. Dizang warns the Iron Fist that many in this realm seek to claim the power of the Iron Fist, but if he disrupts the balance, he will have to answer to Dizang himself. Down in Limbo, Magik returns from a brutal, time-spanning war only to be visited by the Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, who seeks her help in an even greater multiversal conflict. Wanda reveals that Doctor Strange has shown her the full scope of the time stream entanglement, proving that reality itself is unraveling. Magik is skeptical of this, but Wanda insists that her unique soul-based magic is crucial in saving countless lives across dimensions. Before Magik can answer though, she transforms into her demonic Dark Child form, testing Wanda's resolve by pointing the Soul Sword at her throat. The tension is broken when the Wolverine arrives, revealing he is on a mission to rescue a lost mutant child who accidentally transported into Limbo. Now, Magik, remembering her own childhood trauma in Limbo, immediately agrees to help Logan and Wanda locate the missing child. They track her to a cave, but Wanda's hex accidentally triggers a rock slide, trapping the girl inside before Logan can reach her. Magik then uses her stepping disc to safely teleport the child out, and the Wolverine comforts her, vowing to bring her home to Krakoa. Using a Krakoan gateway seed, the Wolverine opens a portal to the mutant island of Krakoa, inviting Magik to return home with him. Magik agrees to join him, but only if the Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, the daughter of Magneto, can come as well. But because Wanda is not a mutant, she needs to get past the gates of Krakoa. So Wanda casts a spell to alter the portal, ensuring that Krakoa will accept her entry. Magneto stands on the shores of Krakoa in the year 2099, reflecting on the struggles of mutant kind and how they have finally found a home in the future. Magneto is shortly joined by Storm, reminding him that while they have fought hard for this moment, there are still lost mutants scattered across space and time. Wolverine arrives through a Krakoan gate, having rescued a young mutant who was accidentally trapped in Limbo, followed by Magik, who is changed greatly from the version they once knew. And moments later, Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, and more specifically, Magneto's long-lost daughter from another timeline, steps through the gate, using chaos magic to bypass Krakoan's mutant-only entry rule. It's at this time Wanda and Magneto share an emotional reunion, and she explains that she has been holding her universe together for far too long. But now she sees the bigger picture. Everyone's battles are connected. Wolverine, preparing to leave for another mission with Black Widow, reminds them that there's a war to fight, and Magneto reconsiders Krakoan's isolationist stance. Inspired by Wanda's words, Magneto realizes mutants across time and space need their help and agrees on an alliance beyond just protecting Krakoa. Wanda then suggests modifying Cerebro with chaos magic to track the lost mutants across dimensions, and Magneto reconstructs the device using buried metal fragments. When Magneto dons the enhanced Cerebro, he sees flashes of mutants across the multiverse. He sees warriors, kings, and cosmic forces waiting to be found. With a newfound purpose, Magneto declares that the gates of Krakoa are open to all mutants across time and space, echoing Charles Xavier's legendary call to them all, as he says, "To me, my X-Men." Mantis awakens as a prisoner in the Collector's Museum, trapped in a glass tank among other strange life forms in his new intergalactic theme park. While telepathically scanning her fellow captives, she connects with two unique minds, a joyful creature named Jeff and a deadly warrior known as Psy. Realizing her psionic powers are being suppressed by the Collector's containment field, Mantis devises multiple escape plans, all of which fail until she is forced into a deadly arena match. Mantis is pitted against another version of herself, confirming that the Collector has captured multiple Mantises, or Mantis-I, whatever you want to say, from across the multiverse. Rather than fight, the other Mantis, exhausted and hopeless, helps Mantis escape by guiding her astral form out of her body, sacrificing herself in the process. Mantis takes refuge in the astral plane, using her connection to the surrounding alien plants to regrow a new physical form and break free. Determined to free the others, she rescues Psy from her cell and convinces her to join the escape, despite Psy's initial skepticism. Before leaving, Mantis insists on saving Jeff, revealing that he is a small, hyperactive land shark with a contagious sense of optimism. Together, the three of them fight through the Collector's guards, commandeer a ship, and blast their way out of the theme park. As they escape, Mantis vows to return, not just to destroy the Collector's prison, but to make him experience what it means to be a captive himself. Jeff the Land Shark finds himself trapped in a small glass enclosure within the Collector's intergalactic theme park, unsure of how he got there in the first place. Though he is frustrated, he tries to stay optimistic, recalling his past adventures with friends like Gwenpool and Kate Bishop. He telepathically connects with Mantis, who is another captive in this theme park, and senses her distress when she is taken to an arena for a deadly fight. Determined to escape, Jeff repeatedly smashes himself against the enclosure and fails to break free. Mantis and her new ally, Psy, return to rescue him, but Psy remains wary of Jeff and his overly enthusiastic nature. As they flee, Jeff is distracted by an unusual scent and discovers the Collector's private gallery filled with powerful artifacts. Following his instincts, Jeff devours nearly everything in sight, including a mysterious metal vial labeled Pym, causing him to suddenly grow to enormous size. Now a giant, Jeff rampages through the facility, smashing open countless enclosures and freeing other captives. Mantis convinces Jeff to follow her and Psy to the hangar, where they steal a spacecraft and make their escape. As they fly away, Jeff looks back at the still trapped creatures, and Mantis promises Jeff that they will return and free all of them and make Collector pay, to which Jeff responds with an enthusiastic "Murr!" In the past, Psy, who's also known as Psylocke, hunted and exterminated insect-like demons terrorizing a village at the base of Mount Chiaru, but was unexpectedly struck down by an unknown force. She awoke much later, trapped inside the Collector's intergalactic menagerie, this theme park, and a prison where she was displayed as a rare and dangerous specimen. Psylocke allied with a fellow captive, Mantis, to break free, reluctantly joining her and Jeff the Land Shark in their escape. As they fled in a stolen spaceship, Jeff senses they were being followed, and soon after, the Collector's massive battleship materialized behind them. Mantis piloted them into an asteroid field to evade pursuit, but was forced to take refuge inside the mouth of a massive space whale known as an Encanti. Inside the Encanti's body, Psylocke realized that it was infested with an alien parasite known as the Brood, which she initially mistook for demons from her homeworld. Psylocke fought through the Brood swarm, using her psionic abilities to link the Encanti's suffering with the Brood Queen, forcing her and her brood to retreat into space. Grateful, the Encanti transported them to the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, but before they get there, Jeff repaid the favor by giving the space whale a dental cleaning. So before they could even reach Wakanda, Mantis intercepted a distress call from Star-Lord and the Guardians of the Galaxy, leading her to change course for the symbiote-infested planet of Clintar. As Mantis prepared to leave, Psylocke heard a powerful telepathic call inside of her mind saying, "To me, my X-Men," and realized she had to travel to the living island of Krakoa, believing it may hold the key to returning home. Namor rules over the vast undersea kingdoms, uniting Talokan, Atlantis, and Lemuria under his reign, but he desires to expand beyond the oceans. Namor views humanity as the greatest threat to the planet, polluting the seas and disrupting the natural balance, and decides the time has come for war. His first target is Jeju Island in the Pacific, but knowing powerful beings will oppose him, he seeks an alliance with Krakoa, the mutant nation. So Namor uses a seed he planted in the ocean floor, activating a Krakoan gateway, allowing him to traverse time and space to reach the mutant homeland of Krakoa. Once getting there, he is greeted by Magneto, Storm, and Magik, with Magneto asserting that Namor is one of them, as his ability to pass through the gates confirms that Namor has mutant heritage. Namor scoffs at Charles Xavier's vision of peaceful coexistence, calling it a naive dream that will eventually fail when humanity turns on them once again. Storm and Magik caution Namor against unnecessary war, while Magneto acknowledges his plight but warns that genocide will not be tolerated by any means. Magneto reminds Namor of Krakoa's core law, murder no man, and warns that if he wages war on humanity, Namor may find that Krakoa will stand against him. Namor leaves without making a final decision but returns to his throne, pondering whether the mutants will be allies or future enemies. Ultimately, he orders his armies and sea beasts to prepare for war, declaring that Jeju Island will be the first to fall, and if necessary, Krakoa may be next. Luna Snow performs a massive concert on Jeju Island, singing in front of 100,000 fans when the ground suddenly shakes unnaturally. A colossal tsunami appears on the horizon, driven by an immense shadow lurking beneath the water, revealing itself to be the legendary sea creature, Monstro. Using her cryokinetic powers, Luna Snow freezes the tsunami in place, momentarily stopping the disaster and saving thousands of lives. However, Monstro breaks free from the ice, revealing a massive wound that has driven it into a rage, causing it to lash out with its tentacles. Realizing the wound is the cause of Monstro's aggression, Luna uses her unique healing ice to mend the injury, soothing the creature and preventing further destruction. As Monstro peacefully retreats into the ocean, Luna Snow is then approached by Namor, the ruler of Talokan, who acknowledges her actions saved both the surface dwellers and his own people. Namor then reveals that Monstro was wounded by a reckless submarine, which led to its rampage, and cryptically warns that all surface dweller vessels will soon be destroyed. Despite the tension, Luna Snow boldly challenges Namor's arrogance, insisting that the true loyalty and admiration must be earned from people, not taken by force. Luna Snow even invites Namor to join her for an encore at the concert, hoping music might ease tensions. But Namor declines, warning that soon, the surface world will chant his name instead of Luna Snow's. As Namor disappears into the ocean, Luna reignites her performance, but deep down, she worries that the power of music will not be enough to stop the war that is coming. The Human Torch, Johnny Storm, patrols Dracula's New York City every single night, burning vampires and keeping the area around the Baxter building clear. Human Torch's defiance makes him Dracula's top target, with the Vampire Lord sending his best lieutenants after him specifically, but none of them can handle Johnny's superheated plasma form. And one night, while sweeping Madison Avenue, Johnny witnesses an explosion and a massive rock-like creature emerge from underground. Realizing that it is one of Mole Man's deviant mutates, but now it's a vampire, Johnny Storm attempts to burn it, but the flames have absolutely no effect on its stone body. As the creature rampages towards the Baxter building, the Thing, Ben Grimm, arrives to the scene to help, but even his strength struggles against the monstrous vampire. And then a few moments later, they are aided by Spider-Man, who swings in, uses his webbing to hold the creature in place while Johnny Storm devises a risky plan to collapse the street beneath the monster. Johnny then baits the creature into lunging at him while Ben rips Spider-Man's web from its anchor, dropping the monster into its original underground cavern. As the monster clings to the edges of the hole, Johnny unleashes a Nova Blast, superheating the concrete and steel, forcing it to fall into the abyss. The molten wreckage seals the cavern, but Johnny Storm knows that this is only a temporary victory, because Dracula will try something much worse next time. However, standing on the street looking towards Dracula's castle, Johnny Storm smirks and challenges the Vampire Lord directly and screams at the castle, "Come and get me, if you've got the guts." Susan Richards, also known as the Invisible Woman Susan Storm, gazes out from the Baxter building at a permanently darkened New York City, as she longs for the sunlight while reflecting on her relentless fight against Dracula's forces. The Fantastic Four's robotic assistant, Herbie, brings her tea and reminds her that she hasn't taken a break in nearly 7 days. And upon hearing this, a heated moment arises when Herbie tells Sue that the world needs her more than her children do, making her question if she's failing as a mother. Susan later learns from Reed Richards that Herbie wanted to leave the Baxter building to help Friday, which is Tony Stark's AI, but Reed Richards denied Herbie due to safety concerns. Realizing that she and Reed had made Herbie feel unappreciated, Susan tracks his emergency signal to Grand Central Station, and on her way there she encounters Bats, who is Doctor Strange's ghostly Basset Hound, who tells her that a giant robot has crashed near the Grand Central Station. Invisible Woman goes even faster to the station to find Herbie, and he is atop a damaged Stark Sentinel, desperately trying to recover Friday's memory files before they're lost forever. And once Susan gets there, a horde of vampires attack them, forcing Sue to fight while witnessing a strange phenomenon. Her force projectiles are seemingly reversing the time damage on the robot. And just as Susan began to struggle against the overwhelming enemy, a swarm of spider bots arrive, assisting her in repelling the vampires. Are these spider bots Spider-Mans? No, Susan says, I think these were made by Peni Parker. And now Susan, moved by Herbie's bravery to help Friday, reassures him that he isn't just a tool to the family. He is part of the family. And Susan promises to talk to Reed about giving him some more upgrades, to which the idea is brought up that maybe some lasers could be part of that upgrade. The scientist Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, examines a small crystal recovered by his friend Ben Grimm from Lower Manhattan, believing it to be the key to understanding the time stream entanglement that has fractured the entire multiverse. This crystal, known as chronovium, radiates a strange energy, but Reed is now looking for a second opinion on this. So he reaches out to Princess Shuri, the genius scientist of the intergalactic empire of Wakanda. Now this Shuri is from a completely different dimension than Reed's. This is one where the Wakanda has expanded into the stars, led by her brother, the King of Wakanda, King T'Challa. And much like Reed Richards, Shuri was tirelessly searching for a way to undo the damage caused by the time stream entanglement. Together, Mr. Fantastic and Princess Shuri form an alliance, bringing in other brilliant minds like Tony Stark to work on a device that could restore the broken realities, and they call this device the Time Stream Reintegration Device. Now at this point, the TRD is complete. However, the challenge is they have not been able to find an energy source that is powerful enough to activate it, leading to debates between its creators on how to proceed. Reed believes that Chronovia may be the key to this power source, but the data from his own crystal does not match the results that Shuri has been gathering from her Wakandan research. So as the two discuss on this video call their findings, the princess reveals that another Captain America has arrived in Wakanda, but it's not the Captain America that Reed once knew, and it's not the Captain America that fought alongside her father and her brother in the past. This is a version of Captain America who had been frozen since World War II and didn't wake up until the year 2099. Upon hearing this, Reed Richards is taken aback, knowing that his world's Captain America had fallen in battle recently. So this idea of another Captain America still fighting offers him at least an unexpected sense of hope. Now the princess then mentions that Wolverine is living on a time-displaced Krakoa, hinting that this version of the mutant island might be the same one that vanished from Reed's reality during the time stream entanglement. Now this is where this conversation begins to shift, and they start to focus on this growing cosmic darkness, because Shuri mentions that she has sent the team of the Guardians of the Galaxy to investigate the planet of Clintar, which is the symbiote homeworld, after detecting an ominous energy source coming from that planet. The issue is, after sending the Guardians to Clintar, she has since lost connection with them. Then Reed shares his own concerns for the universe, because the Asgard in his universe has transformed into Isgard, merging the world tree Isgard with Asgard, and the god of mischief, Loki, is already taking advantage of this chaos. Mr. Fantastic also mentions that Dr. Stephen Strange has recently returned from the astral plane with dire news. Strange had encountered a war-torn dimension where powerful deities were locked in an endless struggle for omnipotence. And at this point, Shuri and Reed start to rack up what they believe are different universes, or well, what Shuri and her team over in Wakanda call chronoverses, where these are fractured realities caused by the time stream entanglement. And the two realize that as they continue collapsing, their survival will depend on mutual cooperation. And at this point, things take a sharp, dark turn, because Princess Shuri drops a concerning revelation, one where King T'Challa left Wakanda a week ago to deliver a sample of the heart-shaped herb to Reed Richards' universe. He was going to the Baxter Building, hoping to help develop a cure for the vampires in New York City. Now, upon hearing this, Reed Richards is absolutely shocked, as at this point, he has had no knowledge of T'Challa arriving in New York City. And again, it's been a week. And given New York City's dangerous state right now, as they are permanently shrouded in Dracula's eternal night, anything could have happened to T'Challa since then. So then T'Challa's sister begins to fear the worst, that her brother may have been infected or captured by the vampire factions now ruling over New York City. And this is where Reed Richards begins to reassure Shuri that Wakanda is not alone in this fight, and promises that just as Wakanda has always answered the Fantastic Four's call, they will of course do the same for Wakanda. And as their conversation ends, both Reed Richards and Princess Shuri realize that time is running out. The fate of King T'Challa, the multiverse, and reality itself now hinges on the alliances they forge, and whether they can act before it is simply too late. The Iron Man, Tony Stark, struggles to combat the vampire invasion of Manhattan, as his armor's thermal-based targeting systems are ineffective against creatures that generate no body heat. After wasting nearly $98 million worth of missiles, Tony Stark realizes that he needs a new strategy and uses his Unibeam armor overdrive to wipe out a horde of vampires down in Hell's Kitchen. But before he can celebrate this victory, Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards calls him back to the lab, revealing that Ben Grimm has recovered a highly pure chronovium crystal that may power the time stream reintegration device. Stark and Richards then debate whether to test the TRD prematurely, with Reed Richards pushing for experimentation, while Tony Stark insists that they only have one chance to get it right, so they can't take too big of a risk. Their argument is soon interrupted when Moon Knight arrives, revealing that the vampires have been using the construction site as a secondary nesting ground. Tony Stark realizes a little bit too late that he was lured into a trap, because vampires had been waiting silently in the rafters, ambushing him and Moon Knight. Moon Knight then uses an enchanted Ankh to repel the vampires, explaining that the only true way to wipe them out is by using an ancient spell known as the Montesi Formula. This spell is written within the Darkhold, but its pages were scattered across New York City when an alternate Wanda Maximoff pulled Doctor Strange back into their dimension. Moon Knight warns that using the spell would destroy all vampires, including the innocent New Yorkers who were turned into vampires, forcing Tony Stark to consider an impossible moral choice. However, before Tony Stark can even make a decision, his AI, Friday, detects a massive Asgardian power surge in Central Park, forcing Iron Man to change course, leaving Moon Knight with one final question: whose side are you on? Squirrel Girl and her army of squirrels fight off hordes of vampires in New York City, protecting the city from the supernatural invasion. Her best friend, Tippy Toe, alerts her to a strange occurrence. A giant squirrel has crash-landed in Central Park. The injured creature introduces herself as Ratatoskar, a legendary Asgardian squirrel from Yggdrasil, claiming that it was attacked by Dr. Victor Von Doom and Dracula. Ratatoskar then reveals its horns is made from Yggdrasil's wood, carrying life-giving powers that could permanently destroy Dracula, making Ratatoskar a prime target. Now, before Squirrel Girl and Tippy Toe can process his revelation, Dracula and his elite vampire army attack them, demanding Ratatoskar be turned over to him. Squirrel Girl and her squirrel allies battle Dracula's forces but are quickly overwhelmed as a vampire lord turns her squirrel army against her. Dracula's mind control leaves Squirrel Girl paralyzed with shock, as even Tippy Toe turns against her, preparing to attack her. At the last moment though, Iron Man and Moon Knight arrive, blasting Dracula's forces and breaking his control over the squirrels. However, within the chaos, Dracula escapes with Ratatoskar, leaving Squirrel Girl devastated and determined to rescue her new friend. Despite wanting to chase after Dracula, Iron Man insists Squirrel Girl retreat, carrying Squirrel Girl to safety, leaving her feeling helpless and, for the very first time, uncertain of victory. T'Challa, King of Wakanda and ruler of the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, arrives in New York City via portal, sent by his sister, Princess Shuri, to deliver a cure for the vampire plague. What they believe is the cure is the heart-shaped herb, which can purge toxins and restore health, but its limited supply means that it must be used carefully, which is why T'Challa wants to hand-deliver it to Reed Richards at the Baxter Building. Now, King T'Challa walks the streets, attempting to reach the Baxter Building, but quickly encounters some vampires. Despite his stealth skills, the vampires sense his royal Wakandan blood and chase him, forcing him into battle as he tries to escape. The Black Panther fights off the attackers but realizes he is being herded toward Central Park, where a more powerful foe awaits him. Dracula, the Lord of the Vampires, confronts T'Challa and easily overpowers him with a single strike, revealing himself as New York's ruler of the Eternal Night. Dracula attempts to turn T'Challa into a vampire, but his vibranium suit repels the bite, forcing Dracula to use a different method, an enchanted shard of blood chronovium. King T'Challa is consumed by the chronovium's energy, severing his connection to Bast and muting the effects of the heart-shaped herb within him. Dracula believes he has fully turned King T'Challa into one of his servants, but the Black Panther resists, proving his will is stronger than the vampire lord's magic. King T'Challa escapes into the shadows, but he is now afflicted. His blood is no longer detectable. Bast no longer speaks to him, and a growing hunger for blood gnaws at the Black Panther's soul. Ben Grimm, also known as The Thing, patrols Yancey Street, where the locals continue their tradition of throwing tomatoes at him, despite his efforts to protect them from vampires. Ben encounters a young member of the Yancey Street gang being threatened by a vampire and quickly dispatches the creature with a powerful punch. The boy then reveals a disturbing rumor that vampires in New York are following a new king, someone other than the Lord of the Vampires, Dracula. Following the trails of this rumor, Ben finds a large group of vampires in Washington Square Park, as they are training in a combat style identical to that of the Black Panther. Choosing diplomacy over brute force, Ben Grimm follows the vampires to an abandoned building and demands to speak with their leader. To his shock, the Vampire King is revealed to be none other than King T'Challa, who was infected by Dracula but has managed to control his hunger. So T'Challa begins to explain that while he has lost his powers from the heart-shaped herb, he has gained a strange ability to command other vampires. At the urge of Ben, T'Challa consumes the last remaining heart-shaped herb that he brought to cure the vampires, and instead momentarily curing himself. But then it makes his blood irresistible to the vampires, turning his own army against him. Ben Grimm then uses some of T'Challa's blood, puts it onto his rock skin, baiting the vampires to attack him instead, with their fangs unable to pierce his rocky hide, allowing King T'Challa to escape. Then, Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards arrives with a portable version of the Time Stream reintegration device, which accidentally reverses T'Challa's cure, but also restores his vampire followers back to human form, leaving King T'Challa as the last and only vampire in his army. Peni Parker reflects on the chaos caused by Dr. Victor Von Doom, the destruction of the web of life and destiny, and her own displacement in Tokyo, far from her old life in New York City. Despite the heavy burden, she tries to remain optimistic, focusing on upgrading her spider mech and protecting time and space. Peni Parker has been experimenting with chronovium, discovering it is some form of crystallized time, though its full properties remain unclear. Peni is doing her job in patrolling the web of life and destiny and spots a Doombot sneaking towards the Master Weaver and his apprentice, Spider-Zero. Peni then ambushes and destroys the Doombot mid-air, sending debris scattering across the web strands. And this is where the Master Weaver cryptically tells Peni that all things, including chronovium, are part of the web, but gives no further answers beyond that. Spider-Zero, meanwhile, is writing messages and attaching them to chronovium, sending them through portals to other versions of herself. Peni learns that Spider-Zeros can influence other realities, but Spider-Zero warns her that the web is too fragile to make drastic changes. And when more Doombots begin to attack, Spider-Zero effortlessly portals them away, making Peni realize that there's much more to her powers than she understands. And as Peni Parker resumes her patrol, she reflects on her father's legacy and how, despite everything, She believes that he would be proud of her and the work that she is doing for the multiverse. Spider-Man Peter Parker swings to the Queensboro Bridge every week, longing to visit Aunt May. But the bridge is patrolled by vampires, making escape from Manhattan virtually impossible. Frustrated about being sidelined from scientific efforts on the time stream reintegration device, Peter Parker reflects on his past while watching the blood moon over New York City. Now, a mysterious note from someone called Spider-Zero appears before him, claiming that the web of life and destiny needs his help. And Spider-Zero then opens a portal revealing the web, a vast cosmic network connecting all spider people across reality. But Peter Parker refuses to leave his home. Spider-Zero says that she will return and hopefully, Peter Parker will have a different answer. This is when the Human Torch, Johnny Storm, interrupts Peter's brooding and says that he has exciting news. Blade has finally appeared in Central Park. The two speed over there and Peter and Johnny find Blade battling vampires, who reveals that he's been investigating how Dracula managed to conquer New York City. But before they could get more answers from Blade, Dracula himself emerges from the shadows, forcing the trio into a desperate fight. Dracula then transforms into a monstrous bat-like form, extinguishing Johnny's flames and captures Blade, flying towards his castle. And as Peter Parker watches Dracula escape with Blade, he begins to doubt himself, wondering if he should have accepted Spider-Zero's offer after all. Spider-Man finally accepts Spider-Zero's invitation and steps through the portal, landing in Tokyo. But it's not his Tokyo. It's Tokyo in the year 2099. Spider-Man meets a group of alternate spider people, including Penny Parker, Spider-Punk, and another Spidey who seemingly forgot his full costume. Spider-Zero then explains that the multiverse is in danger, again, and the web of life and destiny, a cosmic network connecting spider people across dimensions, is falling apart. To stop it, Spider-Zero has assembled a team of spider experts to repair a massive temporal rift tearing through space and time. Now, Peter Parker jokingly suggests calling this team the Web Warriors, though the name is still a work in progress. However, the Master Weaver, who is the guardian of the web of life and destiny, has gone rogue, believing he can fix the web by absorbing the rift's energy. The problem with this? His plan puts all of Tokyo, and possibly the entire timeline, at unimaginable risk. Because Spider-Zero opposed his reckless idea, the Master Weaver exiled Spider-Zero from the web's central hub, forcing her to seek help from other spider people across the multiverse. Now it is up to this makeshift team of spiders to stop the rift from expanding and unraveling the web, preventing the total collapse of reality. And as Spider-Man puts it, this should be a piece of cake, right? Multiple universes have merged into a time stream entanglement, creating a chaotic multiverse. In Tokyo 2099, the Master Weaver and Spider-Zero argue about fixing the web of life and destiny. Spider-Zero wants to plug it into cyberspace, while Master Weaver insists they must gather chronovium first. So two factions form, Spider-Zero's team led by Penny Parker, and Master Weaver's team led by Spider-Man. Spider-Man fights Venom, but this Venom is from a different universe where he killed Spider-Man, or so he thinks. Elsewhere in Tokyo, several other fights break out. Thor fights the Wolverine, Captain America fights Namor, Doctor Strange fights the Iron Fist, and Bruce Banner and Luna Snow try to shoot down Spider-Man and Venom. It's at this point Penny Parker realizes that Spider-Man has the last name Parker and asks Peter Parker if he has a daughter named Peni. He doesn't. And this is where Peni reveals that this Venom has no memory of his past, as he got lost in the time stream. And in this fight, Venom bonds with Penny Parker, overpowering Spider-Man's team. And after this, Penny's team, which consists of Peni, Wolverine, Bruce Banner, Doctor Strange, and Namor head off to fix the time stream, with the goal of getting to the web of life and destiny. Meanwhile, Captain America begins to check on his teammates, Thor, the Iron Fist, Jeff the Landshark, and Luna Snow. Luna Snow begins to listen to her new album while helping Spider-Man get up, confusing Captain America. Peni Parker on her team begins to annoy them by singing Luna Snow's newest song. But secretly, this is actually the plan, because she wanted Spider-Man's team to catch up to them, leading to another fight, as the Hulk begins to battle Luna Snow and Jeff the Landshark begins to fight the Hulk, with Jeff the Landshark jumping in and fighting Hulk as well. Doctor Strange then opens a portal for his team to escape, while Spider-Man shoots a web through that portal and follows them through it. As the action calms down again, Namor finds Jeff and asks him to take over the world with him. After going through the portal, Spider-Man begins to fight Hulk and Wolverine, but Hulk accidentally uppercuts Wolverine, creating an opportunity. Peni Parker and Spider-Man begin to fight, but she stops mid-battle to talk to Spider-Man, and she reveals that her singing was the plan to lure Spider-Man in. She wanted this moment right here, the conversation with Peter Parker, as Peni is convinced that Peter Parker is her father, but she's from the future, so she can't know for sure. And little does she know, the person watching all of this action take place, the daughter of Galactus, Galacta, knows that the truth is that Peter Parker is not her father. Richard Parker is. But because Peter Parker doesn't know what's going to happen in his future, he can't say for sure that he isn't her father. So then Peni moves on, and Peni asks Spider-Man to join her team. And as other fights are breaking out, they pretend to keep fighting to keep up the appearance. And before Spider-Man can correct her about his real name, Thor arrives and the fight continues. It's at this point that Galacta replaces Thor with Squirrel Girl, and instantly Squirrel Girl causes a massive explosion. The Master Weaver and Spider-Zero are still arguing, but Spider-Zero believes that plugging the web into cyberspace is going to work. Iron Fist fights Namor until Jeff the Landshark pretends to attack Namor, keeping up the illusion of their fight. Iron Fist, Jeff, Luna Snow, and Captain America regroup. As more fights break out, we have Spider-Man taking on the Hulk and Squirrel Girl battling the Wolverine. This is where Spider-Man and Squirrel Girl team up, trapping Hulk in an exploding web. And then shortly after that, they trap the rest of Peni Parker's team the exact same way. Luna Snow and Jeff create an ice wall to block Doctor Strange's team, as Jeff the Landshark begins to heal Spider-Man and Captain America by spraying water on them. The Hulk attempts to throw Venom in the fastball special, but Venom absolutely refuses. However, the Wolverine takes Venom's place and smashes through the building. Namor reveals to Jeff the Landshark that his trident has secretly been storing chronovium. So then Namor and Jeff leave together, with Namor planning to destroy the web of life and destiny so that he and Jeff can rule all of reality. Peni Parker is at the web of life and destiny, about to plug it into cyberspace, but then Spider-Man stops her. He then tells Jeff to destroy the web, but Namor wants to do it himself instead. It's at this moment that Jeff betrays Namor, punching him right in the face, leaving the opportunity of Peni Parker trying to access the web again, but Spider-Man continues stopping her. Peni Parker, desperate, insists that she does not want to let her father down. It's at this point that Spider-Man reveals the truth. He is not her father, because her father was Richard Parker. His name is Peter Parker. Upon hearing this, Peni refuses to accept this and will not stop fighting. The universe begins cracking as Jeff steals Namor's trident, which contains a lot of chronovium. Jeff flies into the sky, causing a massive explosion. The web of life and destiny is repaired through cyberspace, strengthened by chronovium. Spider-Zero and the Master Weaver are shocked at the outcome. Neither of them saw this coming. And as the fight is now over, Peni Parker and Peter Parker realize that even though they are not family by blood, they have found family in each other. And then catching up with Namor, Namor does not hold a grudge against Jeff and his betrayal, understanding that Jeff was doing what he thought was right. And for that, Namor respects Jeff. And for now, Tokyo 2099 is safe, but the other parts of the timeline remain broken. Separated by all of this, Doctor Doom and Doctor Doom 2099 stare each other down, and from across this large room, the Fantastic Four appear, with Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards saying, "I was reading a book to my children 10 minutes ago, and now I'm here. One of you better explain why, or I'm going to get angry." And like a respected colleague of mine says, "You wouldn't like me when I'm angry." And that, my rivals, is the timeline of events of the story of Marvel Rivals. I really hope you enjoyed this. This is a lot of work. I hope you appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. The story in this game is just so in-depth and complicated, and there's a lot of moving pieces. It's so much fun to put together and try to make out. The lore in this game is absolutely incredible. I want to give a shout out to whatever story team they have over there doing this. Great stuff all around. And again, like I said at the start, minimum 3 chapters for everybody's stories, including all of the story that's coming out as the game progresses. We are literally just scratching the surface on the story of this game, and it's already so in depth. There's so many Easter eggs. There's so many references. It's so much fun. Again, I hope you enjoyed. And these timeline videos are going to be coming out somewhat regularly as we get more stories. I'll just keep inserting them where they fit in the timeline. So what's funny is I think this one right here may be the shortest timeline we're going to do, because I imagine it's just going to get longer. Unless I go back and summarize all of these stories even shorter. But I imagine as we get more and more stories, we're probably going to split these timelines into the separate universes and such, or specific time periods and all of that. But we're going to cross that bridge once we get there. Right now, just a huge timeline of all these events. Great stuff. If you enjoyed this at all, please leave a like on this video. It would help it get out to more people. If you have any thoughts, I would love to read your comments. I respond to pretty much all comments. If you want to join our community, of course, we have YouTube channel memberships available. We have super thanks if you don't want to support monetarily, or you can't. No worries. We have a Discord server. Join our Discord server. You can find the link to get there at bladestudios.tv. And with all of that said, I thank you for watching, but you have to remember, even though I thank you for watching, you and we are rivals till the end. And it doesn't matter if you watched every single second of this timeline. I am never going to forget that.